Hello, hello. Welcome aboard. Check out this cool new frame. It's looking pretty sweet in it. It's like has the topic on it. Hopefully, when people chat, it'll pop up in the right as well. We'll see. Anyway, so what I'm doing today is doing this workshop for Smashing Conf, and with the workshop, essentially it's how to build a design system with what do you call it, Cube CSS, and the main crux of the whole thing is people are going to be building that project, that little mini system, and I thought for that we can use Eleventy to do the heavy lifting for us. There is like Fractal, which I use for clients, or Storybook, but I want something a bit lighter, and hopefully people can take away a bit of what do you call it, reusable skills with a bit of Eleventy knowledge as well while they're there, get value for money and all that jazz. So what I've got here is you might have seen on other streams I've been prototyping, getting this thing going anyway. And what I've decided to do is actually pull the project out. So what I was initially going to do is this whole thing was going to be like a whole web pack, and then they were going to be able to pick the project up within there, and then have like a local version of this. But I'm actually just going to deploy this site, and then everyone can have their own local project. I think it'll keep things a little simpler, and that is topic. Oh, thank you, Juan. Nice to see you again. Oh, there's a bit of cropping on here. I think what I'm going to do with this overlay is I'm actually going to roll it out as a web thing eventually, and it's just be dead easy to build a CSS and then get some sort of, I guess there's probably some sort of chat API that I can get into, which would be cool. Anyway, so if we're looking, so what I've done here is, I'm using Sublime. I can't remember, I found it earlier, for some reason, I don't even know how I managed to get onto it, but I found someone had solved the one thing that I hated about Sublime Text and Vim, which was you couldn't do, in Vim if you do WQ, it's save and close, and you just couldn't do that. But someone wrote a post, and it was like you create a new command and then you run a little Python script and it does that. Don't even know how to write Python, it works. So I've essentially just got a scaffold of this project at the moment. So in my source directory I've got includes components, which is the couple of test components for the pattern library. Filters, just standard Eleventy filters. An SCSS directory, so that'll be for the front end, a site directory that contains all of the stuff for the actual shell of the site, so the pattern library keeps it away from everything else. Just Eleventy detail, and then I've got this, so component preview. So this is the so when you've got a component or a pattern, it's both what shows in an iframe, and then I'm going to do it so you can see a whole full screen version of a component as well, much like Fractal. This is just the index page. Essentially will be the style guide, and then the pattern library, which is, I'm going to cannibalize this a little bit. I'm going to extract some of this and put it in the base layout. But essentially what this does is it generates a navigation of items and renders the page as well. So, and hopefully that's working. It looks like it is. Pattern library. Let's do pattern library test. Let's see if that works. Components test. Hey, there you go. So that's got like a navigation of the items, So the button test, and that loads the correct pattern. And you can see here, like inside this iframe, it's just totally unrelated to the front end. So be a separate CSS and JS and whatever they want, and then you just get like the gulp setup for free. If you've done the Elementary course, the gulp setup is essentially the same as that. And yeah, so we're going from there. And I'm rendering the code on the page as well. I don't know where that space is coming from. So I'm just going to sort of noodle around with this, and if you've got any questions or anything, just crack on and ask them, innit? It's going to do about an hour, so I'm about 10 minutes in now, so I'll finish at about 5. And just see where I get with it. I might release this, I might not. Private at the moment, but who knows, might do. The problem with releasing stuff is it becomes a burden very, very quickly, especially if it gets reasonably popular. That's why I archived Hilya, because I just didn't have the bandwidth for it really. Right, so first thing I'll do is I'm going to commit this because I've been hacking away at this. Right, and then show with shell. Cool. And then what I'll do is I'm going to go on the base layout. Let's close that. Base. And then I'm also going to open the pattern library layout. So we've got, what I'm going to do is I'm literally going to nick this whole thing, yank that out, open it in base, and then plop it inside of this main element, like so, and then we're just going to grab that. Some weird format. Good chance I'm going to fall. I'm already falling out of Sublime. Do you know what? Let's just stick to it now, shall we? And let's just get back in here. Right, let's go again. So, just always feels nice and warm. Okay, pattern library. Plop, grab that. Hey Saberdust, how you doing? Right, so we're gonna keep that. Then what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna stick that block here. So I want this sidebar to be like a constant thing. In here. So just before I do that, I'm just gonna plop inside pattern library, layout space, and then instead of having all line the block, I'm just gonna have that instead. I'll show you how it works as well in a sec. I'm just gonna try and get this working. You can go away, right. Hyper focused. Hey. Okay, so it worked. That's cool. Got your variant. Nice. Okay. So how this works is, so let's take this button component. So inside of the button, if I open the sidebar up in Vim, you'll see what I mean. Instead of components, I've got button, and then inside of button, I've got button.html, which is the templates, yeah, it's Nunjux and Twig are pretty much identical to each other. Very, very close. The button, and then there's a variant called button ghost. And then, so with Eleventy, right, you can, as I do more often than not, have your data per page like this, yeah. So, oops, blah 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 blah. But what you can also do is have, so you've got the component, the button component, you've got button.html, and because you're in button folder, you can have button.json, and that will apply to every single file within that folder. And it's really useful, this, and I spotted this on Stephanie Eccles' project recently, the one where she's done a web component. Try and find it in a bit. And you can even do it on like your source directory, so you can have like an src.json, and then you can set stuff in there, and I think that's really cool. So you can set like global, the data just cascades wherever you go with Eleventy, and it's just super, super useful. So then how it works is you've got button.html, obviously that's just the button ghost, and then in button.json, this data applies to both. Hey, Stephanie's here. Howdy, how are you doing? What was I saying? This data will apply. So in button.html, button ghost HTML, both have access to this file. Then what we're doing with the help of some helper functions is we're applying the right data set to the right file. So the button, by default, this is the context. If you've ever used Fractal before, this is the same as a config file, but it just goes up a level and removes the context because it doesn't need any of the other stuff. So you got the title button URL. Now, so far the title is required, and then everything else is data that's accessible in the template. So if I go into button.html, you've got href data URL data text. So data is prefixed just as it is every other thing in Eleventy. Happy days. So if I was to just go into button JSON and then just do lol, Tories are scum, like so, and then you go back into button.html and then you do dash data lol. Hi, I'm a button, Tories are scum. We all know that to be true. Happy days. And the beauty of this is as well is that I can actually access that inside of the ghost as well. So I can say button ghost, and then I can say data lol, like so again. And it'll say, hi, I'm a ghost button, Tories are scum. And then the beauty is that you can then override that in here. And then you can say lol, and then you can say, I don't know, whatever you want. Happy Friday. Maybe the ghost button's a bit happier than the northerner that's currently stood here writing. And there you go. So that's what I've sort of been prototyping and working with, is getting this whole concept together where you've got Cascade, and then you can have variants per component and render the components either in a sort of sidebar layout, and then go from there. Now I could just quickly throw the sidebar on there like every layout style. Let's have a quick go, shall we? SRC site, SCSS utilities. I don't know. I was sort of praying I already had it, but clearly don't. See if I can remember it off by heart. So sidebar, display, flex, wrap. We're going to use gap because we are in the future now. Just do one rem, and then I'll say the sidebar's on the left. Oh, I'm going to do this instead. Row reverse, always be careful with this. I'll show you how I'm going to get around this, and then So the first child is going to be the content, and the last child is going to be the sidebar. So we'll say last child, and then flex basis. I don't know, let's just say 16 rem for now. Let's grow plus 1. And then let's go above. Let's say flex. Oh, can't remember what our flex basis was. I think it's 0. Flex grow 999. Oh, we published this so long ago now. Layout sidebar. Skip all the way to the bottom. Oh, yeah, we'll just have a min width on there. Not too shabby. Min width. Yeah, so 50%, whatever. That should work now. He says, I'm using like Gorko and all that business. QRS, import, utilities. What was it called again? Sidebar. Didn't even look in my terminal, to be honest. Oh, look, I've even done like BEM stuff. Oh no, it's doing the flex. Flex basis 0. 16. I think I've screwed up a little bit. Flex go 1. Yeah, I see. So I set aside, yeah, I always set that, set 16 rem. That's on the actual sidebar, and then the last child. I've actually got some elements there, so I'll grab them, make it easier to read in the future. What are you? You're the content, and then you probably be the element. I should actually sort it, I think. Plonk. Yeah, boy. There we go. Sidebar sits out there. That's nice and responsive. And then what I'll do actually is I'll say everything inside of there gonna have a padding of 500. Happy days. Lovely stuff. Andy's tip of the day as well. Check this out. Outline 1 pixel solid. Let's keep it that at the moment. So you see the outline's only applying there because it's not 100% high at the moment. We could do all that. So we could just go into site SCSS. Main height 100 view height YOLO. That'll be the main. Oh, that's just wait, why did you not work? Did I even save that? Wonder why that's not applying. Oh no, it's because I did it to main focus, I think. Yeah, I did. Good grief. is get size. Yeah, it's part of Gorko, which please Google help me. Oh, there we go, Gorko. This is a little SaaS thing that I've made that it lets you work with tokens, and then it gives you a few little helpful functions and utility classes and all that business. And get size does exactly what it says in the tin. It grabs one of your size scale items for you. Okay. Oh, not Last FM. There we go. All right, we're cooking. We're cooking. High 100% should work now. Nah, I don't know what. It's gonna do both. So, although I could make a utility for this if I wanted. I think we can all guess that I don't want to do that today. Cool, there you go. Look at that, looking fantastic. That's working fine. So there's no CSS being applied there, which is good. Components, these headers are a bit big, aren't they? What font does it think it's using at the moment? Ah, just Arial. Cool. Do you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to nick my own font stack from on the Chiz site. Because I've got like a system font stack, but one that works a little bit better because I don't even remember, like Google Chrome just straight up stopped rendering heavy font weights in system stack for a while. No idea why, but I did. There we go. Yeah, I can clean this up anyway. Let's just tidy these up a little bit. Don't need that. Boom. I've essentially taken this and ripped it apart to get this to this point. Right, and then what I'll do is I'm just going to go on site.scss, do some globals again. Oops. Where's the H1s? 900, 800, 700. Some big fonts. I think I'm using a sort of pretty big serif. But actually, let's do that around. That's a bit better, isn't it? So, looking pretty good at the moment. So the test is working pretty cool as well. So I guess the because 11t essentially lets you use whatever template language you want, you could probably use like Liquid inside of your components if you wanted. That's probably something, if I do make it a project, is to make that as easy as possible. But for now, I'm just doing it for my workshop, really, to make it as easy as possible for the attendees, and to just sling out some CSS. Because what I'm going to do is, like, there's going to be the project, but then I'm going to do the I'm going to build all the markup for it. So we just write CSS in the workshop, because that's what the workshop is, a CSS workshop. So it will really just be me to start with, working with the pattern library, you know, make it as useful as possible as well. Right, so looking all right there. Commit that. Just doing YOLO commit, why not? Push. Bush. Hey, Weldon Pond. Nice to see you again. Can't work out why. I might just have a quick look at this now. I've got this. I'll show you what I mean. Pattern library. Pre. So we've got pre, then code, and then helpers render. So the helper that renders things. So it finds the item, and then it uses Node FS to grab the markup. In fact, I could actually debug this. Do it 11T. Is it quiet mode? Oh yeah. Let's not do that. And go. Let's do it in the script. The gulp's going to be loud. Oh, that's good. Doesn't show me all the output. That's nice. Because then what I'll do is I'll go back in here, inside a render. Yeah, so then what I do is I grab the markup from FS, then I've got a string of HTML, or just a string, and then I grab the data for it. So there's another helper function called get item data, which does all the magic that merges the two data sets together to get the flat data structure for the item. And then we use nunjucks, which we've already got, thanks to 11T. Render this string to that, and then it gives you the markup and the data. I'm actually just going to yank that. I'm just going to log what it looks like when it comes out. It looks like it's maintaining the spacing and stuff, which is good. That's good, isn't it? Let's have a look in the source, the source. Code pre. Oh, so this random. Oh. What's going on here? Ah, that's because I'm a fool. Right, yeah, that's fine. Yes, there's no white space going on here either. Interessant. Well, at least it's not going from here, which is good. Well, I don't think so anyway. Let's just do the old text area trick. Get rid of that. I think I tried this last time on the stream. Oh, there you go. Job done, easy peasy. It seems to have lost its. Let's just try it. Test.html. Let's just put like a wrapping element in here. Div. Let's be super accessible with the JS community loves. Oh, beautiful. So you got your code sample there. What I'll do is I'll nick my little get one of these quick tips. This. So you got your code block. I'll use Prismic, is it Prismic or Prism, whatever it's called, to do the syntax highlighting, and then copy to clipboard, we'll grab the contents in there, happy days, and then I'll even render what, even though this is going to be HTML, but yeah. Okie dokie, so it's looking pretty good. Give that a commit. Oops. Right. Got some shutters in here now, and you can see a little there, a little bit of sun. But before, I was getting absolutely hammered at the sun at this time of day, so it's good. What was I doing? Oh yeah, remove needing space on Pro Preview. I mean, there's no this thing isn't even remotely set to compete with any other pattern library thing, because A, I'm just really not interested in getting into that space, and B, they do a great job. Well, I don't think I'd ever run this for like a client design system. I'd probably stick to Fractal, or if it was for some reason the design system was like React based or whatever, which don't get me started on that. Probably use Storybook for like the patterns, but yeah, this is trying to keep things as sort of low end as possible to keep the focus on the right thing. So I think what we'll do now is we'll wire the CSS. We'll get another Gorko running, and then I think that'll be a good start. It means next week I can really dive into actually getting this thing going, because the workshop is 5 weeks away now, I think. Better get my ass in gear, innit? Right. Okay. So first thing I'll do is I'll get the Sass gulp task. Right, that's fine. Critical styles, well, there's no global CSS. Calculate output, history. Right, yeah. So what I'll do is I'll say const pattern library styles, same approach, and then I'll actually put global SCSS in here because I might not even need to do that, to be honest. Let me just do touch source SCSS. Oh, we've already got global SCSS. Perfect. In that case, dist CSS config.css. What in hell's name? Calculate the output. Right, so response equals dist CSS. Critical styles sum. Yeah, and that's working. So it's picked up site CSS, the one that we were just working on, as a critical style, and it's sticking that in the includes directory, so then I can then inline it in the base layout, which is fine. I mean, I could do that with the global CSS as well, which is actually what I think I was doing. In fact, yes, that's what it was. But that's also quite confusing for people. So now Got my tabs all the way around, which is stressing me out a bit. There we go. So I now do Vim dist CSS, global CSS there is, and that's already got the modern reset in it. Fantastico. And then what I'll do is what's the preview.html, and here we go, just like a normal standard HTML, and then we'll say link rel style sheet ref equals css global.css. Nick the asset hasher from there as well. I'll show you how that works in a sec. I'll show you how this works as well while we're here, why not? Oops. And then I'll say E equals asset hash. So what the asset hash does is it creates a random string. And because like each time Eleventy builds, it'll generate a new random string. So the idea is that when you publish your site, like with Netlify or whatever, when the site builds, you've got a brand new cache. So it's a good cache busting thing. Now this is pagination, and what it does is in the Eleventy file we create a components collection, which we're literally just grabbing all HTML files regardless of what depth they're at inside of the thing. That's we get that star. Oops, selects everything, doesn't it? And then we can get rid of that one actually. Clean that up. Speak notes, don't need them. Don't need worksheets. You can tell I've nicked this from the workshop site, can't you? Don't need resources. There we go. So you get that collection, okay? And then what it does inside a component preview, we use pagination. So we paginate over the collection and we set the size to 1. So each iteration of the pagination is the template or the component. So then I alias that to item, right? So then for each item, we're in this view here. And that's when I pass that into that render helper. So I pass the item itself, and then I pass the components collection in there. Could probably use Eleventy's new computed data for that, but I've not really had time to look into it too much, to be honest. But essentially I'm just passing the right collection in there. I could probably even access the collection in the item itself as well. Who knows? And that's how you do that. And the pattern library, or the main, is it pattern library? Pattern library works exactly the same. So it generates a page sheet for each one. And then that's when you get that URL, pattern library, item URL index. And that's how we end up with this pattern library components test. So regardless how many components you add, the pagination will just keep rendering pages for us for each of these components, which is pretty cool. Okay, so we should potentially have some CSS in there now. Have a look. It looks like it. Got no margin there. Bosh, and you can see there, look, we've got v equals 199a, blah blah blah, and that'll just keep changing each time I rebuild, which is good. Happy days, happy with that. And then it's just global. So we've got that. So then let's just install Gorgo. So first I'll just do git add Eleventy.js, and then I'll say probably now config, and do the rest. And say, not quite. I think I did a bit of rubbish here. Yeah, don't need that. Okay. Wire up CSS with component preview. Cool. And then let's get Gorko running. So we've already got Gorko inside of our node modules because I'm using it for the actual shell instead, so that's fine. If I go on the actual Gorko, I lost it, there it is. I'll paste the link to it in the chat. Oops. Pop it over to that screen, there you go. And then essentially you get this, you got this config. I need to update these docs because it shouldn't have the default flags in there, but there you go. So I'll do that, so I'm just going to nick that config. So then what I'll do is do vim source scss config.scss pop and get rid of them. Right, and what this config is doing, sorry if you've watched streams before and I'm talking about Gorko, but set size scale, just got a missing 800, which I still need to fix. I'm so bad at maintaining open source, I'm literally the worst maintainer ever. You've got colors, map, and then you've essentially, you create this config, and inside of it here, you tell it what the prefix of your utility is, what the property that it affects is, and then what items to generate, and then it'll loop through each one. So in there I pass the colors, in here I've got like a box one, so and then I can say right, box dash block, we'll set display block, box dash flex, we'll set display flex, and so on and so on. Handy stuff. And then you generate all these utility classes. Happy day. Now I will shave this right down when it comes to the project itself, but for now I'm just going to leave that as it is. Okie doke. And then what I'll do is I'll go back into the source, the CSS, and then I'll follow the documentation because I forgot how to do it. So import path to node modules, and then import config. Okay. So import, you know what, there's no point in trying to remember where we are. Just do the same one from site. And then take a level off here. Yank. So, oops. So back one, so this source, no modules, yeah. To pull Gorko in, and then finally we're going to say import config, which is that config file we just created. Happy days. And then our Sass. See, look, got a new version for the CSS. And there we go. We've got our utilities hanging out and ready to rock. And then we've got all those helper functions accessible to us now as well. So I'll show you that working. If I do go into the test component, and then what I'll do is I'll say div class equals font base text 700 bg dark color light. There you go, look at that. And it's showing up lovely in the little iframe. It's got no outside influence on the pattern library. Happy days. One thing you could do, which I've considered, instead of using iframes, is you could use the shadow DOM and web components, but I just can't be bothered, if I'm honest, and I want it to work without JavaScript. We'd have had HTML imports, it's been a different story, but let's not get into that. Right, okay, happy days. What I'll do is I'm just going to quickly add some comments in here. Pulling Gorko for design tokens. So yeah, first up, I'll put a link to the repo for that. Yep. 1.4K stars, good grief. And then, how does so many people like it? Got my cat outside meowing to get in. Should let her in. Go on then. Wanna say hi? Yes. Look at the webcam. I'm gonna go on your little perch. Go on then. Yes. No, you're not sitting on my lap. You can't sit on my lap when I'm stood up, can you? No. And that's it. I think that's looking pretty good. Right. Has anyone got any questions about any of this? Because otherwise I'll call it a day. Wire up Garco for project SAS. Let's push that up. Treat myself to a bit of security. Happy days. What's your beef? No. What are you saying? Well, this cat literally like purrs all the time. Go up to the microphone, see if you can hear her. Just the purriest little cat in the world, aren't you? I think you're a bit broken. Right, well, in that case then, purr SMR. Right, I'm going to call it a day 'cause it's Friday. I've had enough. My brain has stopped working. Not a bad little run there. Looking pretty sweet. I do say so myself. Tories are scum. Happy weekend, everyone. Hope you have a great time, and I'll catch you next week.